Hello, welcome to Dad and Lad Soccer. We obviously previewed the weekend games, SPFL games on Friday, and we're now going to talk through the results and these summaries and some of our thoughts in terms of results and looking forward. There'll be a bit of controversy in some of the games, so we'll pick up on that. And as ever, we welcome your comments, your feedback, let us know what you think. First game we want to look at, as I said, Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. Motherwell took the lead on 22 minutes, a header by Solholm, but really it should have been saved quite comfortably by the Aussie keeper for United. Should have dealt with that, but kind of spilled it and it trickled over the line. Motherwell obviously a good victory for them at a potentially difficult venue at Tannadice. Dundee United just really are struggling quite a bit this season. The kind of big moment of controversy in the game was Tony Watt was sent off quite close to the end of the first period. On first viewing, it looked quite a reckless challenge by Watt. Probably was a bit of a reckless challenge by Watt. But having looked at it from a few angles, I'm not convinced he actually contacted the Motherwell player at all. So when he was shown a red, for the challenge, I was quite surprised myself, to be honest. But anyway, it was a silly challenge. Watt's got enough experience to keep the head in these games. Spenny, give me your chat in terms of Dundee United. They should be doing much better, do you not think?
Yeah, they should be. Whether that's a case of the players are not giving their all, or in the transfer window in January they make a lot of signings and upgrading positions, which I do think they do need to do.
Yeah, they do have some good players though, don't they? It's a bit of a surprise. Who do you rate there?
They've got McGrath and Levitt. I think in the midfield.
Yeah.
I think they stand out very well, but I don't know what's happening to them.
It just doesn't seem to be happening for them.
No.
Next game up, obviously, a good win for Motherwell, by the way. That's Stevie Hamill was, I think, him and Brian Kerr at Motherwell, although they're not picking up points in every game, I think they've got a group of players that are, that are working hard for them, so fair play. Next game up, this was a really big, quite surprised, really big win for Hibs. Hibs 3, St Mirren 0. Hibs had scored early in the game, but it rightfully chalked off by VAR. And then Boyle scored a penalty in stoppage time in the first half. The second half, they went on to score a couple of goals to make it 3. The kind of standout goal was Ewan Henderson's finish. Lovely finish into the roof of the net. So that's a welcome 3 points for Hibs, moving up the table. St Mirren were quite sloppy in defence this game, which is, they haven't really showed that this season. They've been quite robust under Stephen Robinson. But there you go. Spenny, in terms of Hibs, who do you think is making a difference for them at the minute?
It's Martin Boyle.
Yeah.
Ever since he's rejoined them, he's unstoppable. He keeps getting on the score sheet, and he's proved it in that game as well.
He's got good pace, hasn't he? He's quite fast to get beyond kind of back fours and stuff. And obviously, he's looking forward to. He's got the World Cup coming up with Australia, so we're looking forward to that. See, in terms of, I've seen Ewan Henderson scored a nice goal. Do you think Celtic were maybe a bit hasty in getting rid of Ewan Henderson? Because I don't know about you, but I think he's got good ability.
Maybe it does. I think, if you did have to judge him, Celtic need to give him some more games to see what he's truly like. But he's done okay at Hibs so far, so
fair play. Next kind of big game of the Saturday was obviously Rangers. Aberdeen Rangers had a really kind of big statement at Ibrox on Saturday. The Rangers 4, Aberdeen 1. Aberdeen took the lead around about the 20-minute mark by young Conor Barron. Slack play in the Rangers defence, quite sloppy, as it has been for a wee while now. So they went into an early lead, but really from there on in it was all Rangers. They looked to play with more intensity, more kind of purpose. They equalised within 6 minutes. Quite a well put together goal. slide pass into Tillman, and he kind of cut it back for Cholak to finish, who just keeps banging in the goals. That doesn't seem to be involved so much in terms of the build-up play and linking the play, but maybe quite similar to Giacomakis at Celtic. He's got the knack of finding the net. Rangers, obviously, as I say, they're really strong in this game. They really looked to showing good desire. They went into the lead just before half time. Quite a scrappy goal, to be fair, but Lundstrom obviously put it away. Early in the second half, they extended that lead. A nice whip ball by Barisic, left back, across to the captain, Tavernier. A kind of bullet header at the far corner. So it was actually a good goal. That made it 3-1. Rangers were awarded a penalty through VAR, quite a clear handball. I don't know how the referee missed it. But Tavernier then, he stepped up, hit off the post. So the scoreline remained 3-1. Rangers obviously completed things. Morelos come on as a late sub and had a tap in to make it 4-1. But that will give Rangers fans a lot of confidence, obviously, after what has been a pretty dismal recent run. So maybe that's the reaction that the manager was looking for a few weeks ago. So they should be going into the Ajax game midweek a wee bit more confident than what they were. There you go. In terms of Rangers, Spenny, what do you... Obviously, they got into a difficult game against Ajax, Champions League. But I was hearing that James Sands had a particularly good game. And I'm wondering, do you think Rangers would pay the transfer fee after his loan period? What do you think?
Well, I'm not too sure because his natural position, I'm pretty sure, is in the midfield.
Yeah.
And Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is playing him at the back. So I maybe needs to get a run of games in the midfield to really see what he's like. And I'm not too sure if Rangers want to pay that $5 million for him, whether they have that, because they paid $5 million for Yilmaz and he got injured early on in that game.
Yeah.
So, not too sure.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call. I think it would cost about $5 million to sign him. I don't know if Rangers have got that kind of money. It's quite a big outlay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Next game up, St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0. It was Kilmarnock's first defeat in 5 matches. Bit of a deflection. Stevie May obviously struck the shot, deflected off Ash Taylor. It was kind of confirmed as an own goal. The win is Callum Davidson's second win in the trot. Good, always good for confidence to get a home win. Just thinking in terms of league positions, that takes St Johnstone up to 7th. So they're obviously on the up. I'm sure they play Rangers next weekend. That maybe give them kind of positive aspirations going into that one at McDermott Park. But we'll wait and see. There was a VAR incident in this one. James Brown was red carded, but it was rescinded to a yellow after it was reviewed. So the right call, I think. Spenny, I'm just wondering, Stevie May, obviously he got the only goal of the game, which obviously got the points for St Johnstone. What do you think of him? Do you think he's quite underrated?
Yeah, I think he's very underrated. He doesn't get the praise he deserves. He's somehow always finding a way to get on the score sheet for St Johnstone, and he just doesn't get enough credit as he does. You
picked that up on that in the recent game St Johnstone played Celtic at McDermott Park. What did you think of that game? You thought he'd done all right?
Yeah, he came on and hit the post. He nearly equalised it.
Uh-huh.
I think when he comes on or when he starts, he does make a difference for them.
Fair play. The sort of big game of Sunday was Livingston 0, Celtic 3. Historically, this has always been a kind of banana skin for Celtic, going there on the AstroTurf at the Tony Macaroni Arena. Excuse me. But to be fair, Celtic really controlled this game, start to finish. Without being amazing, they were, they kept the ball, kept probing. Scored quite a nice goal early on through Kyogo. Nice slide pass by Greg Taylor, and it's quite an emphatic finish by Kyogo. I think that settled the nerves for Celtic. They not in. They didn't really look in any doubt. Just it was more really a matter of time before the second one went in. Greg Taylor, who scored his first domestic goal last week at Tynecastle, again scored quite an important goal today. The second goal, connected but really well through a group of players, and it managed to go through the goalkeeper's leg to make it 2-0. The third goal was just late in the game. David Turnbull made a great run to break through the Livingston defence and then squared it to Jota to finish. So quite an important win, I would say. Quite a pivotal 3 points for Celtic, and what could have been a tricky game, but they've managed to come through it with flying colours. So they've also said they've got a home game next weekend against Dundee United, so, and they're averaging about 3 or 4 goals a game, so they're certainly in good form domestically anyway, Celtic at the minute. Spenny, I wondered, obviously there was a VAR incident in that one. Celtic were awarded a penalty. Andrew Shinnie was adjudged to handle it. We were unsure at the time, and even after VAR we're still a wee bit unsure, and VAR is supposed to be, it's really supposed to help the referees, isn't